Hello everybody, today we're going to be going over a slightly more controversial topic of card cleaning. Today we have the Kyogre and Groudon Top Half Legend card. Now I know a lot of people in the community are against it and a lot of people are totally for it. I'm kind of in the middle. I believe that it is totally fine as long as you are just wiping off surface, not defects, but like if there's any dust or dirt on the card, I believe it's totally fine to clean off. I think once you add chemicals or card polish or filler, that's when it becomes not good. And I feel like that's when it's considered altering. But as you can see, this card currently is probably like NP. It's got some dirt, some grime, some scratches, and some other stuff. Not the best condition card. It's very beautiful, but I'm going to be doing a light cleaning with just some water. So one thing I would recommend with these cards is to not put any water on the foil. That's why today I'm only going to be doing the back. So I'm just going to set this down very carefully. And what you're going to want to do is just grab a Q-tip and a tiny little thing of water. So what you're going to do is I'm going to put this out of frame. You might not be able to see it, but I don't want it to spill on the card. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. You just dip the Q-tip in some water, and then you really just want to squeeze it off so it is barely any water on it. You want it to be very, very lightly damp because you don't want to get the card wet, to say. So then what you're going to do is you're just going to find where it's dirty. So like right here, there's a little bit of dirt. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put a little pressure on. And you're just going to go in some circular motions. You're just going to wipe it very carefully. And every few seconds, you're going to get the dry side of the Q-tip and you are going to dry it off. This is to prevent it from getting too wet or too moist. So you're just going to wipe it, dry it off. So the goal of this, I'm not going to be sending this into grading or anything. I am solely just trying to clean it up so it looks better. And I'm sorry if the audio sounds bad. I'm kind of leaning over the camera right now, try and get a good view. But just very carefully, few second increments, just very light pressure. You don't want to dent or damage the cards or crease them at all. Just very lightly. And if you have to work on an area for a little bit because it's got pretty bad, just move away after a little bit so it doesn't get too damp. You don't want the card to soak up too much moisture. Now, fair warning, I am not an expert. If you do this more and you have a different method, go for it. I don't normally do this, so I am by no means an expert of any sort. Just a casual collector who sometimes wants to make his cards look a little better, and that is what I am doing. So then every once in a while, it'll get just a little too dry. You can give it another dunk. That's what I'm doing off camera. Squeeze it. Make sure to dry off your hand. And then just get back onto the card. Very light pressure. You don't really want to get it on the corners too much. And if you do, go away so you don't get any corner left on it. Dry it off. So it's a very simple process with just some water, and you can take a card from being very nasty. This works great for getting card mildew off. I know that plagues older collections, and it can really ruin the looks of cards. And even if you just want to make your cards look better, it's a great thing to do. And that is all I am doing. So one thing you want to make sure to do if your card has like a print dot or something on it, make sure you're not aggressively trying to clean that off because you think it's surface. So right here, I can get it to focus. In the middle of the K, right in the center, there is a little dot. It's right there. And I can't tell if it's a print dot or dirt and grime, and I'm not really gonna force it. If it doesn't come off after a little bit of work, then don't worry about it, because you might end up doing more damage to your card than help. So that's the biggest risk with this, is just waterlocking your card and getting it too damp. And if you do that, then it can make your car bubble, especially if there's hollow foil on the back like this Legend card. So you just want to go very light, not much pressure at all. Dry it off. And if you have a light in your room or your office, wherever you're doing this, you can use it to really highlight dirt and grime. It does a really good job, especially looking at it from the side. You can see where any of the dirt, dust, or anything is. Like, I can see there's quite a bit in this corner. So I'm just gonna very lightly wipe it off. Okay, and then I can see a little bit more over here that I'm gonna try and work out. And the one thing I am gonna warn is I don't want people going out and actively trying to clean their cards that they get to try and grade them and turn their card from a 3 to a 7. That's what I believe ruins the hobby, is instead of people chasing their favorite artworks, they are chasing Benjamins, which I think absolutely destroys the hobby. Now, obviously, it's not a bad thing to keep money in mind, especially if you have invested a lot of money. And I'm not talking about like investing, like Investor Bros. I'm saying if you spend a lot of money on your cards and you don't want to lose money, that's totally fine. I understand that. But you shouldn't be cleaning cards chasing 10s, or cleaning cards and hoping to turn a $20 card into a $400 card. It's devious, and you shouldn't do it. So after a little bit, you can see the Q-tip gets kind of worn down, and you don't want to use that for too long. So what you can do is either switch the side you've been using to drying, as long as you have a spare Q-tip on hand to use. What I'm going to do is I am just going to use this Q-tip. So once again, you're just going to wet it a little bit, squeeze off the excess water just to get it nice and dry. And you're just going to go back onto that card and just some more light pressure. Just clearing it off. This card is looking better, which is good. Obviously, you don't need to chase perfection, as you can never do that with a card. So you just got to keep that in mind. There are some things that you cannot fix on a card, and there's nothing wrong with that. Your cards do not need to be perfect. They don't need to be a PSA 10 or a black label or anything like that. They just need to look good for you. So as long as you're happy with the results and you think it looks good, either for a binder copy or you want to trade it to get a card you want, I think that's totally fine. Now, I will say, if you're trading it or selling it, you should disclose that it has been cleaned, just with water, as long as that's what you used. You shouldn't be selling cards that you cleaned and be like pack fresh, near mint card, perfect condition, because it's not. It was once a not so clean card that you restored, and I feel the buyer has the right to know that. And I don't think you should not tell them, because they have a right to know they're spending money on the card that they want. So they should know its history. It's like a car. If you went into a crash and you're selling your car, you're not going to be like, it's a clean car, never any accidents, nothing's wrong with it. That's a bad thing to do. You would tell them, hey, this car was in a crash, took it to the car shop, and they fixed it. That's what you do. And I don't think it's any different with cards. I think it's the exact same thing, and I think people should do it more. Now, depending on the condition of your card, this can take anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. So I'm not going to lie and be like, this is a simple process. If you have somewhere comfortable to stand or somewhere comfortable to sit or just something, that's going to be the best option. Right now I'm standing, but I like to stand, so it is fine. And I will show you a card I worked on before. I'm going to go grab that right now. It is this Salaman's Hollow. So I got this card at a shop. They had it priced for MP, and I bought it because it had a little blob of some sort of grime right there next to the Pokeball. And I cleaned it off very simply, and now it just has ever so slight whitening on the corners. So it is now an LP copy. And the difference between LP and MP at the time was $80 for MP and $250 for LP. So it's a very big jump, and I wasn't doing this to make money. I was doing it because I didn't want to pay for an LP copy when I could buy an MP copy and clean it for myself. So it's very nice, and I'm glad I was able to do that, because being realistic is key. Can't fall into the trap of you need to have a Gold Star Rayquaza by month 3 of collecting. It's another thing that plagues the hobby, is just comparison. It doesn't matter if this YouTuber has a $1 million collection and your collection is a few hundred. It doesn't matter. If you're happy with your collection, then that's all that matters. I started off with one card, and I worked my way up to a collection over $3,000 now. Now there's people that have millions and millions of dollars of collections, and that's okay. You don't have to be them. And also, most of those people got their money elsewhere. Very few people became millionaires by Pokemon. And you shouldn't think that you can, because the reality is you can't. And that's scalpers. They're like, I'm going to make $1 million scalping ascended heroes, and everyone's going to like me. Everyone hates you. Being a scalper is not cool. I think it is very frowned upon. I think it's something that ruins the hobby. I've heard some people defend them and say they bring new people to the hobby or whatever. I think it is taking candy from a baby, pretty much. This is a children's game, and there's nothing wrong with adults collecting cards. Truly, you can do what you like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're an adult clearing out the Target shelves to make a cent on the dime because you don't have a 9-to-5, I think you should get a 9-to-5. Scalping is truly horrible, and I feel like people who do it either A, aren't real collectors, or B, they are collectors for the money. And when they look at their collection, they don't see the beautiful artworks of the cards they collected. They see dollar signs. And I think it's a big problem. These were created for playing the TCG and collecting. And the second it becomes not about those two things, it's not the same anymore. And without those two cores of collecting and playing the TCG, the hobby would really just be scalpers scalping other scalpers. And we all know how that is. Prices are crazy and no one has any fun. So on this one spot, there is a little dirt speck. I know it's a dirt speck and it's not a print line, but it's not coming up, and stuff like that you don't have to worry about. If it doesn't come up, it doesn't come up. There's no problem with that. So I'm going to carefully flip this card around, and you can see front, absolutely the same. So what you can do with the light is you can go like this, and you can see where any of the issues are. So I can see on here there's a little bit of a smudge right there and a few other things. Nothing major. And on the back, I'd say it looks a lot better. There's a few things that just won't come out. There's a few little dents, a few other things. But, you know, it doesn't matter. It's a sweet card, and I'm glad I get to own it. So one thing I said earlier in the video is I don't recommend cleaning the top with water because of the foil. It can tarnish the foil, it can peel it, and I don't think it's a great idea. And I know there's plenty of companies like Kurt's Card Care is a big one, and they sell polish. And that's where I draw the line, is polish, because it is filling in microscopic gaps in the foil to remove scratches and other things, and I'd consider that altering. And I don't think altering cards is a good way to enjoy the hobby. So cleaning, totally fine. You're just removing some dirt. But polishing is when you're adding things to the card. And I feel like taking stuff away is totally fine. But the second you start adding things, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's when you should refrain from doing it. So I believe with that, we are done. So let me know how you think I did. This is only my 4th or 5th ever time cleaning a card, but I think I did pretty good. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this card or if you like the bottom half better. I'll see you guys later. Bye.